Hi there everyone. I tried to do this video already and I screwed up because I'm kind of stupid and there was no sound. I thought it was going to be a perfectly fine little video and I messed it up. So we're going to try it again here. We'll cut right to the chase. As you can kind of imagine, this has something to do with Star Wars, which isn't something I normally talk about, and after this it's probably not something I'll talk about again. But um, personally, I just think all the Disney Star Wars stuff is total garbage. But I like the classic original movies a lot, and I would personally enjoy other good Star Wars media content if there was any. I don't want to get into the whole like Star Wars hate thing that's so common on the whole kind of nerdy YouTube scene. Not that I necessarily disagree about all that content or all that. Star Wars content that Disney has produced being terrible, because it is terrible. I have nothing but disdain for what they've done in terms of the movies and TV shows. Again, though, I would love good content. And I think, the question of like, what do you do with Star Wars now? How do you kind of like bring back in some of those jaded fans and maybe entertain some other people while you're at it? So the question is, how do you save Star Wars, or how do you do something interesting with it at this point? Because some people basically hate it now. Other people are kind of casually interested. There seem to be some diehard fans who like even the newer stuff and whatever. Is there something you could make that would bring everyone together and make everyone happy? I think there is. I think there's only one answer, and hear me out. The way you save Star Wars is a TIE Fighter movie. Okay? Inspiration for this comes from the 90s when there was a video game called Star Wars TIE Fighter, and you can see it on the screen here, the old box cover art from LucasArts back in the day. This game was really good. It was like a space simulator, fighting combat spaceship game. But you play on the bad guys team. So it was a sequel to the game X-Wing, which was X-Wing was okay. Obviously, you're on the rebel team there, and you're fighting bad guys, Imperial bad guys, and you get X-Wings and A-Wings and Y-Wings and all that. And it was interesting because, of course, on the rebel team, their ships are individually quite a bit better. Like an X-Wing is way better than a TIE fighter. An X-Wing, for example, has deflector shields. It has missiles that you can fire and home in on guys. Missiles and proton torpedoes and stuff, right? The TIE fighter, like the regular ship that the TIE fighter pilot has none of this stuff. They've just got the lasers, they're the blaster guns, green ones instead of red ones. But they're kind of crap ships, right? They're kind of the cannon fodder of the Imperial spaceship fleet, or starfighter fleets. They have no shields. They have no missiles. Their hit points, if you will, or their armor, however you want to describe it, way worse than an X-Wing. But it was really good because you play in TIE Fighter like one of these crappy fighter pilots. Like you come in, you start flying a TIE fighter, and you kind of build up through the ranks, and you get access to better ships. Like eventually you're leading your own squadron, and you're flying a TIE Interceptor for like the squad leaders. And you move along, and sometimes you get access to other things like these heavier assault gunboat kind of ships, which were cool. Later on, of course, building up through the ranks, you become super elite and you get access to like these cool prototype TIE fighters like the TIE Advanced and the TIE Defender. It was all really cool. It was well done. It took place between Star Wars: A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. If I remember, maybe there's supposed to be a few years or something in between those movies, and this takes place in there. Anyway, it was really good. This would be a really, really interesting movie because you could kind of do it as sort of like a Top Gun kind of thing. with a pilot who's entering into the Imperial Starfighter fleet or academy or something, maybe goes through training and then does a series of missions. There could be a lot of moral ambiguity or some interesting moral quandaries or issues that come up because, again, you might have this morally complex character who, for whatever reason, he's going to be on the bad guy team, and he's going to be doing missions for them and stuff. And it could be a villain, could be an anti-hero, but it could be a really interesting kind of character, like a Dark Mirror version of, again, kind of like the classic Top Gun sort of story. And I think this would just be really interesting and kind of cool. And it would move away from all the Jedi stuff. There really is no reason for lightsaber fights or Force wizard battles like Space Wizard. And I say that as a positive thing, not a negative thing. So like wizards and magic and stuff. This would have none of that. This would be purely a space fighter story of a pilot who moves up through the ranks and becomes epic, does epic starfighter battles. This would be a great movie. Not so much a TV show, I don't think. I don't really like that idea. I think this would be great inspiration for a big movie. Really heavily focused, of course, on space battles, but also have a main character, have a rival that he's got in the academy with him, or have a best friend or something, or build up some interesting relationships and have him go on cool missions and grow and do interesting things. In the game, if I remember correctly, now this is a really long time ago, like mid 90s, I think I was playing this game. And I mentioned how he starts as just a crappy TIE fighter pilot and he moves up and gets better ships. But as he's doing that, he's gaining rank and he's doing more important missions and stuff. And it culminates in a really cool kind of final battle, which is where you're flying in Darth Vader's squadron on this kind of protection escort mission for the Emperor's shuttle. So Emperor Palpatine's on this shuttle. This mission, he's got to go from one ship to another. And there's going to be this huge, intel says there's going to be this huge, like, rebel sneak attack ambush kind of thing, where they're going to try and get the Emperor as he's on his shuttle going from one ship to another. And it turns into this big thing. It would be a really good, cool, climactic thing. And you could have the fan service, because of course you're in Darth Vader's squad, so you get some of that fan service kind of action that people like. You can overdo that kind of stuff, but it could be subtle, and you could have a light touch to it, and it would be kind of cool. And I don't know, I always liked the space fight stuff. It was always one of my favorite things about Star Wars. When I was younger, I'd say I really kind of preferred that stuff to the more Jedi and Force type stuff. I just really liked that space battle stuff. I thought this was a really good game, and there's something that should be mined here, and it would be a really great movie, I think, where hardcore fans would be really interested in it. It's kind of a counter signal that it would be kind of a weird twist in the approach. And again, because it's from the perspective of the bad guys, it would maybe introduce a lot of interesting scenarios and character development and moral challenges. I think it would just lend itself to a really interesting, cool kind of story, and it would be very refreshing compared to a lot of the stuff that they put out. Could they do it? I mean, they've kind of made out the Empire to be sort of like the space Nazis, and then can you, tell a sympathetic story about a guy who's in the space Nazi military fleet? Like, I don't know. I think obviously you could, but they've kind of set up the environment for the series or the IP where maybe that's not so easy. But I really hope someone maybe considers this at some point, because again, hardcore jaded fans I think would be really interested and curious about this. They would want to go see it. The more casuals, if it was really good, they would want to go see it. Same thing with Top Gun. Like, a lot of people didn't care about Top Gun, but they were really interested around the buzz and the good reviews around the new Top Gun movie, and they went to see it. Like, personally, I don't even like the first Top Gun movie. I think it's kind of, well, to be honest, I think it's kind of a stupid movie. I can see why people like it, but I really liked the second one. And, you could have that too. And then there's diehard people who would want to see it no matter what. They might like all the other Disney Star Wars content that a lot of people object to. They would still go see this. They're not going to object to it. This would be really cool and interesting. I hope I've never seen anyone propose this idea, and I think it's a really good one. So, from my little humble, crappy YouTube channel, I'm just putting this out here. Again, I'm not going to talk about Star Wars. I'm not going to become a guy who makes 10 videos a week complaining about all the terrible Star Wars stuff that's out there. I'm not into that scene. I just don't care. I would care, however, if this was the movie that was announced and they had kind of a good team and they did a good job. I think this would be a huge winner. Maybe we'll get so lucky. I've just never seen this suggested, and I think it would be such an interesting idea. I think it would work really well. At least in my head, it works. It really does work in my head. Um, so I'm just gonna put it out there, and maybe some other people can talk about it. There's a comment section here. If you think it's a stupid idea, or you think it's a good idea, maybe leave a comment. Sure, join the conversation. Other than that, I don't really have much to add. I think this will probably be the last time I ever talk about Star Wars on the internet because I just don't want to be part of that scene, really. I just want good stuff to watch like anyone does. But one other thing that was kind of cool about the game, I don't know if this would work maybe for a movie like this, but I said you build up to the point where you're flying in Darth Vader's squad as kind of the final mission with elite like prototype TIE fighters and stuff, and it's very cool. There was this other kind of thing that happened, and I kind of forget how it works, but it's something like there was like this secret elite kind of group within the Empire that was like the Emperor's chosen fighter guys, and you I don't remember exactly how it works, but you can get into that by doing like certain objectives or certain special missions for the Emperor in particular, like while you're doing the other missions. Or I mean, it's so long ago I don't remember exactly, but maybe that would be a cool aspect of it too, where your main character ends up like kind of joining this elite group within the Empire that serves the Emperor directly for fighter missions and stuff. Anyway, I don't know. I think it would be really cool. Hopefully someone does it someday. We can only dream. If you never played the game, I mean, it maybe hasn't aged so well, but it was really good back in the day. I don't know. I'd love to see a good fighter, space fighter movie in theaters. That would be fun. That's it for now. Talk to you later, everyone.